Welcome to B-Bus channel, English section. I'm Imtiaz Patel, Varediawala. I'm one of the hosts of the English section, and B-Bus is brought to you by the Community Media Centre Bolton, UK. And as the name suggests, it is the channel for communication, it is the channel for conversation, and it is the channel for interaction. As you know that every time we try our level best to invite scholars, political figures, health professionals, media tycoons, social activities, or those people whom we call community champions. We invite them to our studio and we have conversation with them. So welcome to this program called In Conversation With, and today we are once again very fortunate, and on behalf of B-Bus channel and on behalf of our listeners and viewers, it is my privilege and honor to welcome very distinguished guest, very honorable Hazrat Asim Qasmi Sahab. He is a chairman of Tayyab Trust Deoband. He is a son of very honorable Maulana Sahab Salim Qasim Sahab, Muhtamim of Darul Uloom Waqf Deoband, and I am sure that as we will go along, he would be able to tell you more about his background, his upbringing, and his activities. If you would like to submit any suggestions, or if you would like to make any feedback or any other ideas, then ladies and gentlemen, you can ring us on our studio number, which is UK 01204 435 825, or you can join us on our website, which is www.britasianbus.com, or you can follow us on our social media site, which is Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. Hazrat Asim Qasmi Sahab, very warm welcome to B-Bus, and thank you so much for coming to our studio.
Thank you for inviting. It's very nice to be with you, and through you to be connected with your viewers. My salam alaikum to everyone who's listening, and again, extreme gratitude from my side and my team for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. It would be interesting, sir, if you could share something about your background, your childhood, your education with our listeners and with our viewers, please.
I belong to a family who's the founder of Darul Uloom Deoband. So I think a lot of your viewers probably would know I'm the fifth generation of Hazrat Maulana Qasim Nanotwi, who founded Darul Uloom Deoband. And then his grandson, Maulana Qari Muhammad Tayyab Sahab, who was the rector, Muhtamim of that madrasa for almost 62 years. And then my father now is the Muhtamim for the last 30 years of Darul Uloom Deoband Waqf. So I come from the family who has services in community guidance and Islamic education for the last 150 years. And I'm the new generation who's carrying the message forward. Tayyab Trust is one of that. In my childhood, I completed my Hifz Quran and Islamic studies in Deoband, and then I went on for my further studies to the United States, where in University of Maryland, I specialized in decision making. So that is a management experience that I have, a very special field, rare. And then the utility of that is the Tayyab Trust, where coming from that very conservative background of ulama, and then going all the way to the West and studying and understanding. So I kind of assess professionally, and through my experience, I am able to assess the strengths and weaknesses of both the systems. And I think that is one of the reasons that the trust has succeeded, alhamdulillah. So that's in brief is my introduction.
So, sorry, is your link with the Indian subcontinent, or you were born and brought up in Britain?
No, Britain here I'm a visitor.
Oh, I see.
Right. More than half of my life, I have lived in the United States. almost about 25 years. I have been in the US, and the childhood was in India, in Deoband.
Oh, I see.
So it's a rare combination. I think this work was meant for me, and this is why Allah has, subhanahu wa ta'ala, has taken me from this extreme end to the other extreme end, and I have built a great understanding, and that I'm utilizing for the community services.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the program called In Conversation with. My name is Imtiaz Patel, and today in our studio we have got very, very honorable Hazrat Asim Qasmi Sahab, and you just have heard that he has got the great combination, I would say, of having I would say the values of Eastern world as well as the great values of the Western world as well, and he's specializing in decision making. So I hope, Hazrat, that you have made the right decision today to come to Biba's studio.
Of course, no
talking
doubt about
to me, and I hope we won't disappoint you in that way. So thank you very much for that background. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to submit any questions, any suggestions or any feedback, please do ring us on our studio number, which is UK 01204 435 825. You can visit our website, as well as you can let us have your feedback on our social media, which is Facebook, Twitter and WhatsApp. Hazrat, my next question would be that it would be useful if you can share or if you can tell us about your projects and activities to our viewers and listeners.
Currently, apart that I'm a businessman, and although I don't spend a lot of time on my business anymore, most of my work and my time is dedicated to the trust. So I'll be speaking of the trust because that is the key interest of the viewers. I'm the chairman of Tayyab Trust in Deoband, and we are working in 4 interdependent areas, which is health, education, hunger and relief. We have carefully selected these areas because I think they're mutually dependent. You cannot teach a hungry child. So if they're hungry, you cannot only take care of hunger. If you want to educate them, you need to take care of the hunger. Similarly, the healthcare. We were looking for a solution for affordable healthcare. So alhamdulillah, in the intervention areas where we're working, we have come up with some solution. Obviously, it's a big problem, but we have come up with a affordable healthcare and quality. So we run a hospital in Deoband called Tayyab Hospital. It's a 50-bedded hospital where we employ finest doctors, and we have all the modern equipments. The structure is very good, one of the finest in the area, and yet we are able to treat the patient in 10 rupees only, which is 10 pence. So now this is the strategy that we built in. First, we were trying to adopt no profit, no loss policy, and yet I saw that it's still not affordable. So then I took sponsors, but for the beneficiaries who needed this service, we did not raise the price. So now, alhamdulillah, we have sponsors who sponsor the treatment, and we are able to deliver quality treatment at the affordability of the beneficiaries, which is the poor class, with quality. Then the healthcare, we run mobile clinics, we go to refugee camps, we provide medical aid in all kinds of disaster, whether it be natural or conflicts. Similarly, the hunger, we have a food pack beautifully designed in a factory, in an ISO 9001 factory. So in all our projects, you will see quality and dignity. Quality and dignity, this is something that was rare in Muslim charities that we brought in. Then education also, we are very creative. Alhamdulillah, we run many projects in scholarships and for madaris, modernization of madaris, the IT training for the madrasa students. That's in our education. The biggest work is in relief. We have simultaneously worked in Muzaffarnagar riots, in Kashmir floods. Now we are in Nepal, alhamdulillah. The first jolt hit the Nepal on 25th, and on 27th we were on the ground, alhamdulillah. So we have been awarded for being the first one to respond from India in Muslim charities, alhamdulillah. So it's a new direction. And that is pretty much would summarize what we are doing.
Okay, but I believe that your charity, which is the Tayyab Trust, is working with other NGOs and with other charities as well. And i.e., particularly, we've been informed that you are very much, or your charity is very much connected with Majlis Al Falah Trust UK. And I believe there is a AGM is coming up this Sunday as well. So,
Yes.
how do you actually form this partnership, and how do you actually make the whole work compatible in that context, please?
The collection in this country is one challenge. That I know there are charities, and every day there are more charities coming in. So there is, if you sort of look at charities as a competitive business, I call it a business because I run like one, and so that we can have the professionalism. Charity is charity, of course, but it's competitive, and the edge will go to a charity that has the capacity to deliver. Other than transparency and accountability, those are issues that we deal with. So how do we empower the local charities in UK to implement the projects? And they reach to the real deserving, the poorest of the poor, the most deserving. For that, they need us, because we are local, we are on the ground, we do the surveys, and then we implement their project as per their guidelines. We also do consulting, that, instead of, say, medical aid, you limit your medical aid to this much, then you start food aid, you do shelter. So we're providing surveys, we're bringing the needs of the beneficiaries, and then accordingly we're designing the program. So it is empowering the UK charities, and we are being the implementing partners.
Okay.
So with Majlis Al Falah, this is the relation we enjoy.
Okay.
That Majlis Al Falah Trust has come to an agreement with us, where we have done various projects with them. But the star project, I believe, that no other charity could claim to, is that in Muzaffarnagar riot victims, who were living for almost 1 year in camps, open skies, with their children, with the vulnerable elderly, they built 300 houses for them. And if I could call it value for money for charity, we were able to build a house for £420 each. And it's not, the house has a room, 12 by 15 room, it has a yard, it has a toilet, it has a bathroom, and then for every 5 houses there is a hand pump for clean water. So we took care of sanitation, clean water, and their employments also we are working on. So this is our star project, and we are building, united, we are building strategies, how to handle, and this is our relation, alhamdulillah. With.
Right, thank you very much for that information, Hazrat. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the program called In Conversation With. In our studio today we have got Hazrat Asim Qasmi Sahab, who is talking about his excellent charity work. He belongs to Tayyab Trust, and they are working very closely with another UK-based charity, which is Majlis Al Falah Trust. If you would like to submit any feedback, any questions, you can ring us on our studio number, which is UK 01204 435 825, or you can send your feedback on our social media site, which is Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. My next question would be that there was a time, I still remember, going back in 2001 and 2, when the Gujarat was equally, if not more, severe way hit by the earthquake. And I was one of the fortunate one who happened to be associated with one of the charity at that time, and one of the local media, and we went to India, and then we did whatever we had to do as a team, of course. 10 years ago, there were only handful charities. I can remember 1 or 2 charities. But in the past 5 years particularly, or maybe in 7-8 years, we have seen enormous amount of, if I may use this word, eruption of charities everywhere, from local to regional to national to international level. So compared to those charities, Hazrat, what is unique, or how does your charity is different from all these charities? What is that uniqueness of your charity, which makes your charity different than the others, with all respect?
Sure. No, that's an interesting question, and I'm glad you asked. For charities, for new charities to come, I think one of the reason is that the disasters and the conflicts have also are on the rise for the last 2 decades. So there is a need, and the trend is encouraging. I don't take that negative. We do need people in this sector. However, this sector has to work organized. This is what, this is why we are different. That we have professionals who come from this sector. We have engaged them with experience, and we are practicing extreme transparency, the accountability, the feedback to the donors. But more so, I believe the charities should be different in their cause. Charity is not a courier service. This is why I think I'm different. That it cannot be a courier service, that from your money I take it and I deliver it to the beneficiary. That too is not happening. You know, we have a lot of donors who are complaining that my money is not reaching. You know, there are cuts or there are lack of surveys. There are people who are delivering in a truck, and you could see the kids are running after it. The real beneficiaries are not getting it, but that is, even if they get it, all of your charity, I still think it is a courier service. The charity must work towards a cause where you could show an impact, the change. So what you are selling to the donor is not the delivery of the money, but rather a change, the upliftment. The eventual results is what we should seek. And then on this basis, I believe you can pick up the few charities who are making real differences, where long-term impacts. You see, the charity is meant to elevate the people. It's about options. Allah has given you money. You have options. You have plan B. The poor, who is the recipient of your money, he doesn't have options. He doesn't have plan B. So your job is to give. My job is to take your money and give him plan B, give him the options, show him the way to live and exist in this world. And that is to me is charity. This is how we are working. This is what our partners, we are taking them into confidence that this is how we should work. And if I may say, the charities, I'm asking all charities to dedicate funds for developmental projects just as much they do on emergency projects.
Okay, thank you very much for that response, Hazrat. My next question is more or less connected to the one which we are already talking. You said you are a businessman.
Yes.
And of course, you do charity, and you have got your own charity, you work with other charities, and you see same model as a business in terms of, it has to be transparent, it has to be run by professional people, and you got to know your job, because at the end of the day your accountability is lying either this way or that way. So at the moment, what kind of opportunities you see for charitable investment in countries like India?
I think India is the safest investment for charity today.
We were talking about having an opportunity, what we call the charitable investment in countries like India. But I'm sure that myself and my viewers and listeners are a bit curious about this word you are using, charitable investment. How do you mean by that, please?
What I mean, basically, it's a term, but it has a message that when we invest, we seek a return. When we invest charitable money, then the return is not money, it's change. So in this word, I'm trying to send a message to everyone that yes, it should reach and it has its spiritual value, and we do it as ibadat. So that is one end to it. But then the other end is that ibadat is not complete. You have to also make sure that the change happen there. So I'm asking and inviting all the charities that adopt the project that could bring change. So you just don't earn money, on this investment, you don't earn money, you earn change in the community. And this is why purposely I have invented the word charitable investment, so that the people get the message that charity should be cause-based. It should not be on a personality-based. It should not be about the person we trust, but rather for every penny we are giving for a good cause, for Allah, for social cause, that should bring a change in our future, and it should be invested into the generations that are coming. So it has that hidden meaning to it,
Sure, yeah.
and I'm sure that answered it.
Sure.
Now, do we have more time?
Yes, yeah. I still have got two very
Sure.
important and wide questions, and slightly different than what we are talking about. But you can add what you would like to conclude with,
Sure.
in connection with the previous question. Do you want to add something?
No, you were asking about the Indian demographics.
I will come back to that.
Sure.
So thank you very much for the explanation about the charitable investment. Now the next two questions I would like to ask you, and it is basically I'm really capitalizing on the opportunity that you are in our studio, and Alhamdulillah you have got knowledge and wisdom from the best of both worlds, dini and dunyavi. So my next question is slightly different, but I'm sure that the viewers and listeners are equally interested that nowadays, if you look at countries like India, countries like USA, and countries like Britain, this term is becoming very common and slightly frightening as well, radicalization. And I'm conscious it's a very sensitive topic. It's a very complex topic as well. And from our point of view, which is B-Buzz Community Media Center UK point of view, we would never judge anybody. We would not stereotype anybody. Our role is to really bring guests here, put forward their views, and we will let viewers decide which way they want to think. We are also conscious that radicalization happens in every society. But having said that, nowadays in media and elsewhere, we see rise of radicalization, particularly within the Muslim community. What are your takes on this?
I think this is a complex issue, like you said, and the stakeholder first, I think, need to come together and build the confidence among themselves. I think one of the key issue is that we are not on a common stage. There's a certain Muslim psyche that the stakeholder, for example, the governments and whoever that might be, they don't understand those deepest insecurities or the psyche of Muslims. And on the other hand, Muslims being the stakeholder also, as much as we want our next generation to coexist in peace and in justice in everywhere we live in, it is also our take and our effort to come as close as we can to the citizenship ethics that I say. So within the Islamic frame, we need to also educate our young generations for the citizenship ethics. We need to value the freedom we enjoy in these countries. We need to, and I'm a firm believer that we came into this country seeking the opportunities, and this country, as well as other countries, I went to United States, it has given us a lot. So it is also our duty, and Islamically I'm speaking, it is our duty to be inclusive and to make efforts to maintaining our Islamic status and to adopt to citizenship ethics and work together with the governments. Then the governments also, it is sometimes about justice, sometimes it's about understanding. So there has to be some efforts also from that end to understand the deep insecurities of immigrants and then the minorities. Minorities everywhere have their insecurities. So I think that is to begin with. I'm not saying these two things will completely solve the issues, because there are the radicalization, I think, is also happening, that the problem happens elsewhere in a Muslim world and the reaction happens in here or somewhere else where the problem doesn't even exist, right? So so that is a larger world problems now. But this is the challenge. If we talk about country to country, I think this little effort could bring us closer.
Thank you very much for that response. And my last question, because we are heading towards the end of the interview, but again, I would just like to take this opportunity to ask this question on behalf of our viewers and listeners, that you have seen the democratic model of India, you have experienced the democratic model of USA, and of course you come to Britain quite often, as you suggested. So we have these three inverted comma from the Dunyavi point of view, the so-called the best model of democracy. But do you think that nowadays, because of the extremism in political thinking and extremism also in religious thinking, the minority ethnic communities and particularly faith communities finding very difficult to, for them it's very difficult to kind of breathe within these spaces? What is your experiences and what would you suggest?
Again, it's somewhat related to what we are talking in the earlier question. If I could answer it by asking a question, how much of a participant we are as Muslims or as a minority community in this democratic process? You know, that in that question, the answer of your question is written. That for us to judge or for this system to return fully to us, we need to be participant to the democratic process. And that is not happening in India, that is not happening in the US, and probably you are more aware of the figures in here, but I was reading in some of the magazines that the response or the voting of our community is not as strong as it should be. So we need to stand up, we need to make awareness in the community that they should vote and they should participate in the democratic process. That is the only way to celebrate this wonderful system of governance. This has worked. This has worked for all other communities. This must work for us also. So this is, I think, is the key. I take the blame that we have not made our communities aware. I encourage ulama to counsel the people also, because a lot of our community members depend on their permissions and their guidance, that they should encourage also the community to participate in the democratic system we live in, and only then we should expect the results. And inshallah, if we do so, we will have a different perspective for us and for them as well.
Thank you very much. Finally, Hazrat, do you have any message for our listeners and viewers from the point of view of charity work, from the point of view of the activities which we are generating here, from the media point of view? As I suggested, that one of our objectives is to convey positive and constructive messages so that people, so we can empower people with the information so they can carry on making what we call the informed and conscious choices. So your final words, please.
I would first congratulate you for taking the initiative for this setting up the media center. Very well needed, and I think it's had to be copy pasted everywhere else in the world. So it's a wonderful effort. My congratulations on that. I would also say that this is a great way of reaching out to the people, connecting the charities and the beneficiaries. So inshallah, we'll be working on that. The message is that we must come together in our charitable work, and India is right now enjoying an extremely favorable demographic value. We are a young country. Average age is 24, and inshallah, as they predict, in 2020 we're going to have 216 million new workers between the age of 20 to 24. 20% of them are going to be Muslims also. So it's a great responsibility that we train them through our developmental projects. And if we don't, I also like to say that this is the biggest liability we are going to inherit if we don't train them. So it's not about option. My efforts today is that I invite all charities that as you work in emergency projects, in disasters, you also invest in India, in development, in education and healthcare.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching the program called In Conversation with. My name is Imtiaz Patel, Varediawala, and today's our guest. We were talking to Hazrat, very honorable Asim Qasmi Saab. From my point of view, it has been very interesting, very informative interviews. He talked about his charity. He talked about community empowerment, uplifting, participation, importance of participation in civic life. And in his concluding message, he also once again raised the point of particularly Muslim communities should come forward in different respective areas, so it be health, so it be economical, political, charity, so on and so forth. Thank you for watching this program. As I said, in the future, if you would like to get in touch with us, any guest or any suggestion you would like to make, you can contact us on our studio number, which is UK 01204 435 825. My name is Imtiaz Patel Varediawala. On behalf of Beavers, on behalf of our listeners and viewers, we would like to thank you once again to Very Honorable Hazrat Asim Qasmi sir for coming to our studio and for providing us very, very useful and interesting information. I'm sure and I'm confident that you would have found all the information very useful and very inspiring. Wherever you are, look after yourself, be happy, and make other people happy. Thank you.